What are value streams and why are they so useful? Today's 10-minute short discussion. I'm Joshua Barnes, and as usual, I'm joined by Al Shalloway. And that's today's topic. And I know, Al, you've been using or aware of value streams for like 20 years now. So why, in that level of experience that you've got, do you feel value streams are important and it's important for everybody to know what they are and how we can improve them?
Well, value streams to me have always been about visibility. And at first it was just about visibility of where problems were and also maybe the time you were deluged in it. And I learned value streams because I learned lean back in the late 80s, actually, before it was called lean. I was studying the Toyota production system back then. And I started getting into value stream mapping and value stream management in 2006. I think it was my very first lean software development course. And I would do a very lightweight value stream mapping exercise. And in the first lean course I taught, we did that exercise. And in about an hour of doing the exercise, a couple of people who were there who knew their problem was in the development group discovered their problem was in sales. And they went back to their company. And in an hour back in their company, they expressed what they'd learned, and they solved the problem that basically saved 20% of the time of a 100-person development group, just like that. I was hooked, needless to say, because I found that without value streams, you tend to look at the wrong problem. You very often look at the teams instead of something that's setting up the teams for failure. So that was my initial use, is finding where's the problem? And then later I saw how you could actually discover what the problem was better. So I'm a big fan. I've gotten some major results.
Yeah. So one of the things that we get, a lot of questions on when we're talking about value streams is the types of value streams. So there's value streams that exist in organizations. That's how we deliver value. And then there's also types of value streams, right? So how about sharing a little bit on some of the types that we can take a look at?
Yeah. Well, here's an interesting thing. Depending who you talk to, you're going to get a different answer as to what's what. So there's not a right way to look at it. I tend to use ways that I can most easily describe things. So the way I have found, because my main job has always been trying to help people see better ways of doing things. What I've done, therefore, is try to keep it as simple as possible. There are some people who have as many as 14 different kinds of value stream. This value stream is simply the workflow from you get an idea until you get it done. So that could be as a developer, could be even in ops, as setting things up. It could be all sorts of places. But I have found people can relate to four things really easily. One is what we call development value streams. These are where you're actually building something for somebody else to use. Another one is, look at how the customer uses the system. These are called customer value streams, sometimes called the customer journey for that matter, although the customer journey is a part of that. A customer journey would be how they interact on the customer value stream, which is bigger. The customer value stream would have everything in it, both their interaction plus the system itself they're interacting with. So when you look at the customer journey, their interactions, you can actually build a better customer value stream because it projects what they would like to see and use. Then there are just business enabling value streams like HR, or things of that nature, legal. These are value streams that don't directly add value to the customer, but they add value to internal customers, you could say, if you want. And finally, there's what value streams, I just call them operations value streams, like ops, support, things of that nature. Now, technically, a lot of people refer to development and operational value streams, but I think that's too broad, operational. So what I described as customer operations and business enabling, those would be technically operational value streams. And I have the development. But I like operational value streams as, okay, here's what we're using, but I like to split those up again into the customer, the operations part of a company, and the business enabling part of the company. So it's unfortunate, operations and operational sounds a lot alike, but
it does.
Operational is a more inclusive label for it.
So Al and I both of us have very similar refrigerators, and it's these refrigerators that have kind of a dual door, right? A door that, you open, you get into the inside of the refrigerator, but then there's like a little thin door that you can open. And how about sharing some thoughts as far as how that's changed how you get value out of your refrigerator? Because it's pretty similar for me.
Yeah, see, this is the interesting thing, actually, that a lot of times people talk about things are unknown and we can't tell what's going on. But I believe if you pay attention to how the customer uses your product and what they want to do, you can come up with innovative stuff and be pretty sure it's going to work. So, like for me, I got a refrigerator I keep in my garage as an overflow, and it has this door in the doorway. I can open this smaller door and it doesn't let the cold air out, but I can get my drinks, either like water or beer when my kids come. They're adult. Kids come and take beer out, and
Thanks for clarifying that.
Yeah, in
That
fact,
they're adults.
well, yeah, I mean, in fact, one of those is a police guy, so he definitely would not be driving drunk. But but the point is that when you think about the customer journey, somebody did. They thought, well, you don't really want to open the whole door, lose all the cold. But what's nice is then I have a part of the refrigerator that's got a lot of space. Bottles and things clog up everything behind it. So this way, by having it be this door and doors, also puts all these drinks in the wider door. So I have this access to a wide variety of drinks without blocking the stuff behind it. This is something that's ignored a lot, is that people tend to build the system. They improve the system instead of improving the customer journey. So the customer value stream and the customer journey is a great way to focus on innovation and value. And it makes discovering what the customer needs a lot more efficient and effective. The other thing to keep in mind, just throw the other two in at the same time. When you're building something, you have to be aware that these customer value streams, operations, and business enabling value streams, actually they interleave with each other. Mm-hmm. If you don't have a way to sell it, if you don't have a way to support it, you don't really have something the customer can use. So even though we always focus on development, knowing these four value streams, customer, operations, and business enabling, remind us in the development value streams that we must attend to all these value streams. They all interact with each other. And that's one of the bigger lessons of it, is not just how do we do the development better, but how do we relate to the other aspects of it.
Yeah, and if we don't plan for the other aspects, like you said, if we need to have somebody from legal, or we need to do something from a procurement or vendor management perspective, or HR, and we're only doing the development part, or we're only doing another part versus taking a look at everything that's needed, then we're oftentimes going to end up in a situation where our results are going to lack, or we're not going to be able to get something out into the hands of our customers as quickly or as efficiently as we could.
Yeah, and you can visualize it this way. Now, value streams are not really linear, not in knowledge work, because things branch out, they overlap. You start something, it might affect other things, but just pretend for a moment it is. And you start on the left, and then you go like from, okay, we're initializing, we're working on it, we're getting it out. Now, some people call it left shifting. In other words, the stuff at the end, companies sometimes get to the end and they realize, oh, we forgot to tell marketing. Oh, we don't have support. Oh, we don't have operations. So what it's nice about the value stream, because you see it's a full flow. Early on, you realize, wait a moment, I'm going to get to the end. I better be prepared. This is what's called full kitting in the theory of constraints. What am I going to need here to be all the way through? So value streams give you a way to visualize this, a way to see what's necessary. Before you start, how do I know that I'm ready to go all the way through? Now, I know definition of ready's got this really bad reputation because it was used as a phase gate in some places, but actually it's really good if you use it properly, which is before I actually start something, make sure I'm going to have all the capabilities I need to get to the end. I've seen companies that they can build it, they can't deploy it because they have a budget of OpEx rather that's not budgeted. So they build this thing and they can't get it out in the field. Value streams give you a way to visualize that definition already. Basically, full kitting gives you a way to see it. So value streams work not just as a way of visualizing, they give you a way to see who needs to coordinate with you as well. And it leads to all sorts of interesting things, like what should be going into the value stream. And that's another topic, but it gives a placeholder in a sense for all the work that needs to happen.
Yeah, and one of the things that's so important with full kitting is if you don't have what's needed, right, the full kit, then look to do something else that you actually have that for, right? You make a more informed decision on what you can actually pull into the workflow and actually complete, finish,
right.
Yeah.
And that actually brings another idea I don't think I've ever expressed before, but people lament how management executives are always trying to get you to start. Let's get started. Let's get started. Let's get started. And that's, of course, a mistake. If you overload the system, you delay things, you create a lot of waste. But you can use value streams, and the idea of full kitting says, look, we can get started and it'll get going, but then it's going to clog up because we don't have all the capacities we need. So value streams can be quite useful to talk to management and executives in the language they understand. How do I get business value out? I think one of the serious problems with Agile, and I think why it's kind of deteriorating out in the field, and people complain about lack of management and executives, is they don't talk about it the right way. They talk about all these things we can't do. Instead of, look, we've got this flow of work. Let's get that going faster by removing delays, by removing competition for capabilities we have and capacity we have. They can understand that. But saying, oh, we're going to limit how much we're working on like that. Well, why? Let's really get people busy. See, right. If you focus on how to remove delays and have the right capacities for the right, most important projects, that's a different conversation, even though you're really talking about the same stuff. Perception is reality. So if you make it sound like, oh, we can't, oh, we have to slow down, executives don't want to hear that. But you can say, we're going to get business value faster. We're going to achieve success quicker by attending to getting it through the pipeline faster, by having the right amount of work. And that's useful conversation. So value streams can help there as well.
Yeah, and then also adding in how we're going to be able to measure it, know if we should keep doing more of that or right. something else. Yeah. So this is just a little bit of what Al is going to cover in a full 1-hour webinar on this topic. If you go to this link, or we posted it in the comments when we first started, you can sign up for it. It's free. Al, anything else you want to add as far as the webinar itself?
Yeah, because I want to have a little more time to go into things. So back in 2008, I remember going into a company that was doing Scrum extremely well, but they couldn't get things out the door. And that's why they called me in. And these guys were doing Scrum well. They were even using small chunks of work, what we call minimum business increments, or the equivalent. And I used the concept of value streams to show them how, instead of trying to coordinate teams, which they weren't doing well, we could change the way they were doing the work in the value stream to do automatic alignment. And it was actually, something that actually looked like Nexus and Scrum at Scale now. I mean, this is in 2008. I don't think they copied me. I'm not saying that. But just using value streams enables Scrum teams to do Scrum better. Because when you have interactions, you want to see the bigger picture, and that's an important thing. So value streams can give you the bigger picture to solve problems as well.
Excellent. All right. Well, thank you, everyone, for joining us today live. Again, take a look at the topic. If you'd like to hear more of a deep dive, sign up for the webinar on this. Leave us any comments if you're also watching this on the recorded on demand. Leave any comments, questions that you've got, and we will see you again next week for our next 10-minute short. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.